You can't reason with toxic people. You can't change them. You can't make them see your perspective. You can't explain yourself out of their drama. So trying to engage with them is a waste of energy. But here's the problem. Ignoring them completely often makes things worse. It gives them ammunition. It creates conflict. It makes you the villain. So what do? You use the gray rock method. You become so boring, so unreactive, so uninteresting that they lose interest in you completely. Not because you're weak, but because you understand that toxic people feed on reaction. And if you stop feeding them, they starve. This is about how to protect yourself from toxic people without fighting them, without explaining yourself, without creating drama. You just become a gray rock, bland, uninteresting, forgettable, and they move on to someone else. Let me explain what the gray rock method actually is. It's a psychological strategy where you make yourself as boring and unresponsive as possible when dealing with toxic, manipulative, or narcissistic people. You don't ignore them completely. That's stonewalling, and it creates conflict. Instead, you respond. But your responses are so bland, so minimal, so emotionless that you become uninteresting to engage with. Like a gray rock, plain, unremarkable, not worth their attention. You give them nothing to work with, no emotional reaction, no detailed information, no conflict, no entertainment. And without that fuel, they lose interest. The method was developed specifically for dealing with narcissists and toxic people who thrive on drama, attention, and emotional reactions. These people need supply. They need your anger, your frustration, your explanations, your defenses. But a gray rock gives them nothing, and eventually they go looking elsewhere for their supply. Here's why this works when nothing else does. Toxic people are like emotional vampires. They don't just want your attention, they need your energy. And they get that energy through your reactions. When you get angry, they win. When you defend yourself, they win. When you try to explain, they win. Even when you cry or show hurt, they win. Because all of those responses mean they have power over you. They can affect you, they matter to you. And that's what they want, to matter, to have impact, to create an effect. But when you become a gray rock, you remove that reward. You're not angry, you're not hurt, you're not defending yourself, you're just there, bland, boring, unaffected. And for someone who feeds on emotional reactions, that's like trying to get blood from a stone. There's nothing there, so they move on. This works because toxic people are ultimately lazy. They want easy supply, easy drama, easy reactions. If you make yourself difficult to provoke, they'll find someone easier. That's not cruel. That's just how energy vampires operate. They go where the feeding is easy. Now let me show you how Ayanokoji naturally uses this method. Throughout Classroom of the Elite, people try to provoke him. They insult him, they challenge him, they try to get under his skin. And what does he do? Nothing. He doesn't defend himself, he doesn't get angry, he doesn't explain, he doesn't even show that he's bothered. He just acknowledges it and moves on. Okay, if you say so, I understand. No emotion, no investment, no supply. And what happens? People lose interest in targeting him because there's no payoff. He doesn't give them the reaction they're fishing for. He's not being cold or mean. He's not ignoring them rudely. He's just completely unreactive. He becomes boring to engage with, like talking to a gray rock. And that's the power of this method. It's not aggression. It's not avoidance. It's strategic blandness. You give them nothing worth pursuing. So here are the 7 rules of becoming a gray rock. First, keep all responses short and factual. No stories, no explanations, no justifications, just basic facts. How was your day? Fine. Not it was good. I went to this place and saw this person and just fine. Give them nothing to latch onto, nothing to twist, nothing to use against you. Second, show no emotional reaction. Ever. They insult you? Okay. They try to provoke you? I see. They tell you drama? Your face is blank, your voice is flat, your body language is neutral. You're not angry, you're not hurt, you're not interested, you're just there. Third, don't volunteer any personal information. Don't tell them about your life, your feelings, your plans, your problems, because everything you share becomes ammunition. They ask about your weekend? It was fine. They ask about your relationship? It's going. They ask about your job? Same as always. Minimum detail, maximum blandness. Fourth, avoid eye contact and limit engagement time. Don't stare them down, but don't maintain long eye contact either. Just brief, polite glances, and keep interactions short. Answer the question, then disengage. You're not being rude, You're just not providing an opening for extended drama. Fifth, don't defend yourself or correct their lies. This is the hardest one, because when they say something false about you, every instinct says to correct it. But that's the trap. They want you to defend yourself, because defense means engagement. So you don't. You just let them say whatever they want, and you respond with okay, or if that's what you think. No defense, no correction, no energy. Sixth, don't ask questions or show curiosity about their drama. When they start telling you about their latest crisis or conflict, don't engage, don't ask follow-up questions, don't offer advice, don't show concern. Just, that sounds difficult, and nothing more. Because questions mean interest, and interest means supply. Seventh, be consistently boring across all interactions. Don't give them glimpses of your real personality. Don't have good days where you open up and bad days where you shut down. Be the same level of bland every single time, because if you're inconsistent, they'll keep trying to get the reactive version of you back. But if you're consistently a gray rock, they'll eventually accept that there's nothing there for them. Now here's when to use this method and when not to. Use the gray rock method when you can't fully remove someone from your life. Toxic coworker you have to see every day. Difficult family member at gatherings. Ex-partner you share custody with. Situations where no contact isn't possible but engagement is toxic. Use it when the person is specifically seeking emotional reactions from you. If they're constantly trying to provoke, manipulate, or create drama, gray rock is your defense. Use it when you've already tried reasoning, boundaries, and direct communication and nothing works. Gray rock is not your first move. It's your last resort before full no contact. But don't use it in healthy relationships going through rough patches. If someone genuinely cares about you and you're just having conflict, this method will damage the relationship. Gray rock is for people who are fundamentally toxic, not for people who are temporarily upset. Don't use it as punishment or passive aggression. That's manipulation. Use it only as protection from people who refuse to respect normal boundaries. And don't use it if the person is dangerous or violent. Gray rock works on emotional vampires. It doesn't work on actually dangerous people. If you're in an abusive situation, your priority is safety and exit strategy, not gray rock. Here's the uncomfortable truth about this method. When you start using gray rock, toxic people often escalate first before they give up. They'll try harder to get a reaction. They'll provoke more. They'll say worse things. They'll accuse you of being cold or mean. This is called an extinction burst. It's their last attempt to get you to go back to feeding them. And this is where most people fail, because the escalation is so uncomfortable. They break, they defend themselves, they explain, they react. And that teaches the toxic person that if they just push hard enough, you'll crack. So you have to hold the line. Through the extinction burst, through the accusations, through the escalation. Stay boring, stay bland, stay unreactive. And eventually, when they realize you're not going back, they'll move on. It's not cruel, it's survival, because you can't fix toxic people. You can only protect yourself from them. And gray rock is one of the most effective protection methods that exists. So here's what you need to remember. Toxic people feed on your reactions, your anger, your hurt, your explanations. If you stop feeding them, they starve and they move on. You don't have to fight them. You don't have to explain yourself. You don't have to prove anything. You just have to become boring. Short answers, no emotion, no information, no engagement. Like a gray rock. Unremarkable, uninteresting, not worth the effort. And the beautiful part? You're not being mean. You're not being cruel. You're just protecting your energy from people who only know how to drain it. That's not weakness. That's wisdom. That's the gray rock method.